What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, let's talk about the current state of software engineering job market, right? So around last year, I think 6 months ago, I talked about the end of front-end engineering. And truth to be told, the title has only been changed, right? Because of AI, people or companies are expecting more out of each engineer. So what ends up happening is that there's a new title for front-end engineers called design engineers, and design engineers is just a bloated title for front-end engineers, but the scope has expanded, right? So instead of doing just front-end development with JavaScript, you'll spend more time designing the user interfaces and you're basically UI UX guy who can implement those prototypes. So instead of just having a separate designer, you'll have a design engineer who can pretty much own the features, own the ideas, and implement them without, passing to the next guy. And the same thing goes to full stack engineers, whereas people still call them full stack engineers, but there's a new title for full stack engineers. Not new, but it's a trending title, and it's a product engineer. And what's product engineers doing is they'll spend more time writing the product or feature requirements, and then probably going to use AI to build a boilerplate for it and implement them. And what I see companies when recruiting is that they want somebody who's basically a builder. They have ideas, they can experiment those ideas, but the requirement is that you need to have the skills to implement them yourself. So because of AI, the need of separate designers and separate product managers is not gone, but it's fading. And product engineers and design engineers are pretty much front end and full stack engineers. The biggest problem that product engineers and designers are facing before on big companies is that they have an idea or implementation, both designers and product engineers, but they need to pass the requirements or the task to those full stack engineers to basically somebody to implement them. And that creates a gap between idea and implementation, the broken phone metaphor. But yeah, it's just the same thing, but different name. But for me, it's just the same thing as front-end engineer and full stack engineer. The scope has just been expanded. And also, because of AI and access to cheap technology, engineers are just required to do more than just coding. You can see that from, let's say, Clay has coined the term GTM engineer, which stands for go-to-market engineer, who is basically a technical sales rep who can use code or AI to automate, marketing. That's just like a growth engineer or some sort. Engineer term is getting diluted. We're probably going to see more engineer combinations in the future, whether it's design or product or marketing. To think about last year or 2 years ago, people really thought that prompting engineer was a real job title. Think about that. So my point is this. Whether you're a front end or a back end or a full stack or a designer, your skills will be always future-proofed if you're just a builder who can do everything. And no, AI is not going to replace software developers, but the job or the role is just changing. And yeah, just keep building and stay future-proofed. That's about it for today's video, and see you on the next video. All right, bye.